Hi, this is Rachel McElroy.
Hello, this is Griffin McElroy.
And this is wonderful.
Oh, it's going to be a wet one, folks.
It is raining here.
We should have explained first that it is raining because me just saying it's a wet one out of context is not. What if we did an episode in like a kiddie pool? Fun.
Oh, that's fun.
Swimsuits, like summer and spring. And it could be our first stunt episode.
Yeah, some sloshing in the audio.
Sloshing, a little gloshing, a little electrocution because we will have electronic equipment and microphones. But fun, beach, pool, summertime.
Well, you just do what you did on your TV show.
That was horrible. I would never do that again. That was the worst day of my entire life. I had to sit in a non-functioning cool tub, essentially, with my two dirty brothers, unable to move an inch, or else the mic pack would fall in the water and our show would be shut down because we'd gone over budget because we destroyed it. Those things are like $100,000.
What, the mic packs?
Yeah, we were doing professional quality. The one I used, Christian Bale had actually used in the movie Pirates of the Caribbean 5. Was he in that one? Yeah, he was one of the skeletons.
There's a lot to tackle in what you just said.
So let's take it piece by piece.
I don't know how many Pirates of the Caribbeans there have been.
9 or 10. Mm-hmm. It depends on if you count Pirates of the Caribbean, Captain Silly's booty patrol. And that one was sort of a sex romp, but set in the Pirates of the Caribbean.
Is Johnny Depp in all of them?
He is in that one twice. Yeah.
He has 2 different characters?
Yeah, he has 2 different characters, and they both aren't great. So, this is wonderful. It's a show where we talk about some of the stuff that we're feeling right now, some of the stuff you're feeling right now, and baby, right now I'm feeling you on this wet day.
Oh.
Baby, I'm feeling you. Wasn't that a Joss Stone song?
I don't know.
So...
Was it in Pirates of the Caribbean 9?
It was in 3, 4, and it was the main theme of 7.
Okay.
So do you want to get started with the thing that you're feeling right now?
I would.
Should we do some small wonders first?
I don't actually have any small wonders this week.
My small wonder this week is...
Are you making it up right now?
No, I've had it for a long time.
Okay.
My small wonder this week is... I have a new piano.
Yeah.
I bought it to help with Adventure Zone music, and it's like a full one, and I did a lot of comparison shopping for the pianos. It's the Roland, I think, RD2000. It's the 2000th piano they put out, 2000th anniversary edition. They started in the year 18 AD, year of our Lord, and I was comparison shopping, and I found a video about this piano. It's from a dude who does like piano YouTube stuff. And he was showing off some of the voices on the piano, like the different sounds it makes. And there's one called Jazz Scat, Jazz Scat 1 and 2. And depending on how hard you press the keys, it can either be like do, or it can be like ba, or if you really slam it, it goes dow. Like that.
I like that a lot.
It's very good. And this dude does a song on the piano, and this guy is the happiest I've ever seen any human being as he plays this song. It's just like a do 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 do, a skip bip do 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 down. He's just like bouncing up and down on the piano.
I wonder if you could do some Carmen Sandiego theme with that.
Ooh, maybe, or the Doug theme. Yeah.
So just to clarify,
yes,
your small wonder is the video or the piano?
The thing, the piano, the man, the happiness that this person's gleaned from the jazz scat that they're producing.
Okay.
Do you think when they invented scat, do you think when Scat Man was like, I got a new song for y'all,
yes,
he knew sort of what it was going to mean later, or perhaps at the same time? Was he trying to reclaim the term scat? And he's like, I'm not the doo-doo man. Do you want to do your first thing?
Well, no, I think I want to spend the next 30 minutes or so investigating
the doo-doo man
just posed. Yeah. Okay. I imagine it started, scat started as a word for excrement.
But then he was like, it can also describe this. No, I think you have it backwards. Maybe, I don't know. What's your first thing? I'm dying on the vine here.
My first thing, cut off shorts. I'm entering spring.
Yes.
I'm ready.
These are, we got
cut off shorts.
Let's establish the terminology here. Are you talking about shorts that somebody else cut off, or are you talking about more this old house DIY flip or flop?
You know, I'd have to say DIY.
Yes.
I have bought pre-cut pants, but what I'm speaking of specifically is the pants that you cut yourself into shorts.
Shorts are tough, aren't they, in general? Because it's hard to know how much of the goods.
Yeah.
That you.
Oh no, and I've definitely had a lot of off-level short bottoms.
Most of mine, I think, throughout my shorts buying history, too much covering of the goods down to below the knee. I think that was sort of the fashion for quite some time. They were essentially Jinko shorts.
Yes.
And the goods were, and by goods, I mean my sweet, milky thighs.
So the Griffin does have great thighs, by the way.
Yeah.
It's important to mention.
Tone them. Every day's leg day. When you live in a house with stairs.
So the shorts I'm speaking of in particular. Do you know the ones?
And
think broadly.
So for Halloween, am I on the right track here?
Yes.
A few years ago, I wanted to dress up as Artie, the strongest man in the world from Pete and Pete. Couldn't find a red and white striped shirt. And so I had bought these red pants, and I was like, well, I'm not going to use these. And Rachel looked at them with her fucking genius, crafty mind and said, I can find a use for those, but not these parts of them. And she pulled out a samurai sword, and she slashed through the legs. And now she had this pair of red, some Ronald McDonald-ass shorts,
yeah,
I
they're
think.
sweatpants.
Yeah, and now you have them, and you wear them a lot, and they look good, and the goods are put up in the shop window.
My favorite thing to do is to ask Griffin, as I'm wearing these very obviously
low budge
DIY piece of short material. I like to turn to Griffin and say, hey, can you believe these used to be pants?
It's a fun joke
game
that Rachel likes to, because I was there when you slashed them with the samurai sword. Yeah. You did it really cool. Like, you asked me to throw it up in the air, and then you had the sword in the hilt, and you like did an upwards.
I did one leg at a time, actually. That's what was amazing.
Yeah.
You threw it up in the air, and I did a left leg.
Right. And then you perfectly matched the right leg.
Yes.
These shorts are comfortable and good.
You could probably wear them, actually. It's a very loose waistband.
It's sort of like the TARDIS in that it can sort of shape itself to the wearer's will. And you do wear them a lot. And I'm not hating, because I want you to be comfortable first and foremost.
They come down to about my knees.
Okay.
Because I also went for the long short option.
It helps you when you're on the court.
They got pockets. Yeah, no, all true.
The pockets also help you when you're on the court.
I did actually try and do research on cutoffs. And you know what was disappointing is that pretty much every piece of history I found.
Daisy Duke.
Yeah, exactly. It was like, I was hoping for this like kind of rich, lesser known history. And everybody was like, oh, you know what?
Have you considered the possibility that you are perhaps sort of a shorts pioneer? And that this is not something that normal people do. And I'm saying that having cut off my own pair of shorts at some point. I may have gone to IKEA to buy a pair of fabric scissors to do my own sort of conversion, my own sort of batch conversion process. But it's not something that I think is normal vis-a-vis fashion.
The way I used to do it is I would take a pair of jeans. I would wear them until they were falling apart.
Yeah.
And
God and gravity did most of the work for you.
And then I would wait until they were almost unwearable, and then I turned them into shorts, add like a whole additional year.
New life. Renew.
So, yeah, I mentioned Daisy Dukes.
Nothing wrong with Daisy Dukes.
Yeah. No, but apparently the concept of trousers where the legs have been cut off midway, which is, I love that description right there, has been around since the 1930s.
Okay.
When shorts became acceptable to wear outside the sports field.
Oh, God, disgusting. It disgusts me that we were so close-minded You're telling me that in the summertime, living in fucking Texas, people would just be walking around with long pants in 1929, just like, this is good. This is exactly how I like it. A swimming pool of my own water.
Like wool trousers.
Oh, God.
Isn't that terrible? And then of course everything I found cited the Daisy Duke shorts from the Dukes of Hazzard, which There isn't enough. There isn't enough. Somebody put together a thesis.
Well, there isn't much to go on. There's not much to pull from. We need things that peer-reviewed research can pull up. That is why I'm pitching for you today, right now here on this show. Reboot of Dukes of Hazzard. Again, not with Johnny Knoxville and Ashton Kutcher or
Jessica Simpson.
I know Jessica Simpson was in it. I forget Sean William Scott, I think.
Yeah, it sounds right.
But it's us two. And you're wearing your red knee-length sweatpants shorts. Mm-hmm. And if I'm being fucking honest with you and the audience and myself, I'm probably wearing something very similar. And we just get in the car, our sensible automobiles that don't have these sort of emblems of the Confederacy on them. It's just good. That would be a cool sort of update. Mm-hmm. And then we're just sort of driving our son to daycare.
Yeah.
And we're not being pursued by the police. We are not breaking county laws. Listening to NPR. I do have moonshine, but it's unrelated.
Just at home in a cupboard.
Yes. Not an open container in the car. Mm-hmm. These shorts are so good. I'm wearing pants right now. I hate it.
I know. I would encourage all of you to think beyond the denim cutoff.
Yes.
And go into the realm of other pant and make some cutoffs out of just about anything.
Just about anything. A chair you got, tear off the upholstery, and now a piano. You take some of the keys, and then you can wear that to the fucking Met Gala. Mm-hmm. I have my first thing. You want to know it?
Yes.
Hidden identity games. There's no real good way to sort of encapsulate what I'm talking about.
The werewolf game.
Like the werewolf. Okay. So if you've ever played Werewolf or Mafia or any of those sort of party games, you kind of know what I'm talking about. I didn't really get into, I've been playing games my whole life, but I didn't really get into these until like a couple of years ago. I feel like we were together when I started playing these, and then I got like obsessed, and we would play them every time our friends would come over because it was so novel, even though they've been around since like forever. And here's the thing. I love board games and games of any type, of all sorts, cooperative games, competitive games, board games, card games, tabletop games, whatever. But what really intrigues me about games like Werewolf and other hidden identity games is that they test an entirely different skill than any other game really rewards. I'm like, not luck, not strategy. In hidden identity games, they test your ability to deceive people and read when people are deceiving you.
Oh my gosh, you're right.
Which is such a different, it's a thing that is not tested in games really at all in any other sort of circumstance. And there's lots of different types of these games, but the basic rules are there's two teams. One is smaller, and they are the bad guys or whatever, the killers, the werewolves. And then there's a team of a larger team of just like villagers who are working together to suss out who the bad guys are before they all get killed or kicked out of the game in some way. And Werewolf is like the quintessential game. I think Mafia probably predates it, but Werewolf is the one that I think more people know about, where there's a night phase where everybody closes their eyes and the werewolves knock somebody out of the game. And then during the day phase, everybody kind of gets together to talk about who they think did it and then does a vote to try to get rid of the werewolves. And there's complications that get introduced in the form of like other roles, like somebody who can, during the night phase, figure out exactly what team people are on, or somebody who can like protect people during the night phase. And that introduces like a lot of really cool complications. And there's a ton of different games with a ton of those variants that you can sort of introduce at will.
I used to have a lot of trouble with these games because I am very uncomfortable lying and I'm not a particularly good liar. But then I realized there's a new strategy you can do where you just are totally flat.
Yeah.
Like you give very little emotion. And people will suspect you, but they won't be able to pin anything on you. And then I found some success in that.
Yeah, so you're really good at these games, and I feel like we play this a lot with our group of friends, and now we have friends who don't really like playing them as much for this very reason. Like, that was like the next thing I had here, is that like these games put an enormous amount of pressure on the people who are in these secret roles, who have to sort of protect their identities and deceive the other players, and it's really hard to keep from giving yourself away. And what I found is there's no like baked in skill at this. Like, I think I'm pretty good at picking up most games, and that is like a skill in and of itself that you develop as you play games. This idea of like gamesmanship, where you can learn rules and how they work and try to like figure them. But here, this is the great equalizer. I'm not actually that good at these games.
Actually, one thing that happens to you is that
I go deep in the paint. Like
you start talking a lot.
Too much. I try to politic too much, and then it gives me
People
away.
get suspicious when you start taking more of a leadership role in the game because they assume that you're trying to cover yourself.
So as much as I love Risk, I love Catan, I love Betrayal at House on the Hill, I love these games that have all these rules, and then you have to be very strategically minded and know how to work the rules to get ahead. I still love those games, but there's something so cool about a game like Werewolf, where your first game, you can sit down, become the werewolf by luck of the draw, and you know how to do this. Like, you know how to deceive people. Or even if you don't, maybe you just don't go super hard and nobody suspects you, and then you win the game anyway.
Or the other tactic that we started doing is you kind of wait for somebody to compromise themselves in some way, and then you just dump
on them as hard as possible.
Yeah, like, oh, hey, did you notice what he said? Why did he say that, do you think? I bet he said that because it's him.
Yeah.
And then everybody will move like a pack in that direction.
And that was so valuable to me because, like, I used to play these big games, these big, deep, 6-hour long Risk campaigns, or, nights where all we did is play Last Night on Earth. But here in Austin, like, our friends aren't as into those sort of deep games, but I love playing games with them. And something like Werewolf is just like instantly like, here's how you play. Let's do it right now. And everybody's instantly on board. And that's so like cool and so valuable. We've focused mostly on Werewolf. There's a lot of really cool ones. One Night Ultimate Werewolf we've played a few times, which like boils down this idea into a single round, like this single frantic, wild, high stakes round of Werewolf. There's a game called Coup that we used to play a whole lot, where you kind of have two identities that are dealt to you in cards face down. And each one has different sort of abilities that they can do, where they can like take money from the bank, or they can steal money from other players, or they can assassinate another player, or they can protect themselves from those different moves. But because your cards are face down, you're basically saying what you're doing, and you could be lying because you might not actually have that ability. And so you're trying to track what everybody else is doing and then calling them out when you think they're trying to do something they can't actually do with the cards that they have. It's a really fucking genius like take on this, and we've played that one probably more than Werewolf. We played that one every time our friends came over. What's neat is that this idea is also being incorporated in video games in some point. Last year, I think Ubisoft released a virtual reality werewolf game, which is very novel and very cool. It probably doesn't completely encapsulate like the social experience of playing these games, of just like looking for beads of sweat on your friend's forehead and trying to call them out for, there's so many little like clues that come from people's like physical body language and stuff, but I still think it's a neat idea.
Oh yeah, we played a game once where I crossed my arms and people cited that for like 10 minutes. They're like, well, Rachel did lean back and cross her arms. And that became like the going theory in our group.
Another neat thing in games is that people are experimenting with the idea of hiding yourself among AI-controlled characters. There's a guy named Chris Hecker who's been making this game called Spy Party for over a decade now, where one player is a sniper looking into this room full of characters, and all but one of them are controlled by AI, while the one human-controlled player in that room has to like do different objectives around the room, like touch a vase and plant a bug on somebody and poison somebody's drink or something like that. So the sniper's watching everyone and trying to look for the person they think is actually human, which then starts to get into some Turing test shit on top of everything else, and that is so delicious.
That reminds me, another way to think about this would be like murder mysteries.
Yeah, for sure.
Did you ever?
Well, I mean, we only did the one for our friend's birthday,
but like pre-Austin.
No, never did one. But you know me, like that would absolutely be my shit. I know Justin and Travis and the fan back home, they do a bunch. There's a place in West Virginia that like hosts them at a big castle, which is super cool. I mean, that's that idea sort of on a very large scale idea. But this is like a small scale thing that you can do with your friends, and it takes like 5 minutes to play around. And all you really need is a deck of playing cards. And you can sort of assign the roles out that way. But yeah, it's really, I love these games. They're so unique in like the games space. I'm all about having like a diversity of different like games experiences and like what they offer and what they challenge you to do and how they reward you and what kind of feeling they give you. And these occupy a very singular space that almost nothing else kind of can scratch. Hey, though.
Hey.
This isn't a lie, and I'm not hiding my identity here when I say I'm going to steal you away.
Here's what I'm going to do this time.
Oh, boy.
I'm going to try and whistle.
Let's do it. You just purse your lips and blow.
Listeners should know that I do not whistle very well.
Oh, but hey, can you do me a big favor though?
Yeah.
Just don't do it right into the mic or else it will be so bad. You know, sometimes you do something into the mic during this part and you go, oh no, stop. I wanted to get ahead of it this time.
Okay. Oh no, I lost it. I was doing so good.
The tea is almost drinkable. Oh, there it goes. Now it's too cold. You've made my tea too cold.
I started out so strong.
You did good.
I had that embouchure of a flute player, and then I lost it.
The problem is that it's a wet one, but then it got a little too dried up, I think.
Yeah. You did say it was going to be a wet one this episode.
I told you, and this is what I was talking about.
Overpromise, underdeliver. That's our role.
Mondays is my best friend. This is what I call MeUndies. They're a great balance of comfortable fit and exciting prints, and you put them on, I don't know, your downtown, or if it's a hoodie, they have the hoodies, you can put those on your uptown girl. And
or socks.
A socks go on your way downtown. That's like the sewers of your body.
Your lower south side.
MeUndies uses a sustainably sourced, naturally soft fiber that starts with beechwood trees and ends with amazingly soft fabric. Thank you, beechwood trees, you kind guardians of the wilds. MeUndies adventurous prints are all limited edition, and new patterns are released every few weeks. For any first-time purchasers, when you purchase MeUndies, you get 20% off and free shipping. MeUndies is so sure you'll love their underwear. They offer a 100% satisfaction guarantee. If you don't love your first pair, you get a full refund. To get your 20% off the first pair, free shipping, and a 100% satisfaction guarantee, go to MeUndies.com/wonderful. That's MeUndies.com/wonderful. Rachel's gazing wistfully out the window right now at the rain, and I just love it. What's she thinking about? Is she thinking about Skywater? What's it all about? What is it? She's still looking. She's looking at a big cloud. What's that cloud look like?
No, I'm looking at you, Griffin.
What's Griffin look like? I also want to tell you about Brooklyn. And hey, do you know how much of your life you spend in your sheets? Go ahead and give me a rough estimate.
99%.
Yeah, this says 1/3. I would just say 1. You spend one of your lives in the sheets.
Last night I went to bed at 9:00, and it's the best thing.
Yeah, it was pretty cool for all of us. It was cool eating dinner and then you were gone. That was fun. They make a difference with how you sleep. Start getting better sleep with better sheets. Brooklinen was founded in 2014 with their philosophy that beautiful home essentials don't need to have wild prices. They have over 12,000 5-star reviews. They got versatile colors and patterns. You can mix and match them to complement any decor. Brooklinen.com has an exclusive offer just for our listeners. Get $20 off and free shipping when you use the promo code ROSE at brooklinen.com. Brooklinen is so confident that they offer a risk-free... Bless you! Dusty tomb in here, huh? Gotta get some Brooklinen sheets to catch all the dust.
Okay.
But then to sleep in. They offer a risk-free 60-night satisfaction guarantee and a lifetime warranty on all of their sheets and comforters. The only way to get $20 off and free shipping is to use promo code ROSE at brooklinen.com. That's BROOKLINEN.com. Promo code ROSE. I just realized about 3 minutes before we started recording, you were sitting right there and you said, I feel like I'm about to sneeze. Did that take you 25 minutes?
It is my only superpower.
That was
I can
wild.
See the future, but specifically the future in which I am sneezing.
Hey, do you want to read some Jumbotrons?
Yes.
Here are some Jumbotrons.
Ooh, this message is for Chris B, and it is from Chris G.
I got your message, Chris. Chris B. Where's my money, Danny? You know the room?
Oh.
So that's nothing.
That's nothing. Happy 30th birthday to the best husband I could ask for. Your unfailing love and support continue to surprise me, even after being together 7 years. You're the best thing to happen to me, my best friend, and I love you. I hope Griffin or Rachel reading this brings you even a fraction of the happiness you give me.
You brought me a fraction of the happiness. And let me tell you, it must be a big happiness. This is big happiness, because I'm feeling a lot of it.
A big happiness between Chris's.
A big Chris happiness.
Chris happiness.
Happy Chris?
Is that something?
It's nothing.
Okay. This message is for Caitlin. It is from Shane. Happy anniversary. Thank you for your beautiful words, your seemingly infinite ability to care, and for always letting me rewrite my bad goofs. You're my whole entire jelly, and I'd pick you over even the best of air horns. I'm so glad we met through this podcast. I love you. Also, we're dogs now. I can't stress that enough.
Oh, no.
Bow wow for now.
We gotta get these dogs away from the jelly.
They met through our podcast, though.
I mean, that's great, but this is an emergency. If the dogs eat the jelly, they'll get so sick, and also I need that jelly.
That's true.
To put on my...
Ooh. Milky white thighs.
Gross.
Didn't you say milky white thighs earlier?
I did, but I don't want them all jelly jammed.
Hi, my name is Susie, and I love Judge John Hodgman.
My name is Ryan, and I love Wonderful.
Judge John Hodgman is a show that gives you the answers to those questions you didn't realize you needed answering.
It's about, discovery and enjoyment of new music, new poetry.
He is just a wonderful person. He speaks from the heart.
It's positive, it's funny, it's kind-hearted, and it's very forgiving.
I just feel that Maximum Fun seems to attract the sorts of people that want to help, that want to do good with others.
I wanted to support the things that I was getting so much entertainment and joy from.
These are listeners just like you, and they support Judge John Hodgman and Wonderful with a Max Fun membership. The 2018 Max Fun Drive is April 2nd through 13th, and if you want to support your favorite shows too, it is the best time to sign up or upgrade your membership. Just tune in starting April 2nd, and we'll give you all the details.
Hey, thank you to Ryan for saying all those nice things about our podcast and for promoting the Max Fun Drive.
Thanks, Ryan.
It's coming up next week. It's going to run for 2 weeks. It's going to be real fun, and we'll talk about it more at the end of the show.
Okay, my second thing?
Yeah.
I think will surprise you. Jelly beans.
What?
Can you believe? Oh no.
I'm crying, Margaret.
Who's Margaret?
I know. Now you're the surprised one.
I like jelly beans.
You don't fucking like jelly beans. Who? You're doing your own hidden identity game.
Specifically, okay, let me drill down.
Oh, here comes the caveats.
Juicy pear jelly beans.
Then you like jelly bean. I like jelly. Today for you, I've brought jelly bean.
Well, I like a lot of the Jelly Belly variety, but specifically juicy pear jelly beans.
This is the first time that you've brought something that I would definitely also bring in. This is how you felt when I did French fries, and I was like, I only like one kind of French fry.
That's true.
Because I fuck up. I'm a regular Ronald Reagan over here, specifically in the context of jelly beans, and in virtually no other.
I love that you know that about Ronald Reagan, because that was part of my thing.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to spoil.
No, that's okay.
Jelly beans.
So obviously there's only specific flavors that I like, and maybe I should withdraw my thing.
No, please.
But
I love it.
It's seasonal.
What do you hate?
We're in jelly bean season right now. Oh man, the black licorice, forget it.
Yeah, pretty much any of that.
Throw it out the window.
A lot of the dark beans don't do it for me.
The buttered popcorn, I don't think so.
Yeah, they went a little too. And they think people love it, but nobody loves it. Don't at me.
Okay, so the thing with Ronald Reagan. So Ronald Reagan took up jelly bean eating in the 1960s in an attempt to wean himself away from smoking.
Oh. Too bad he didn't stick around for vape. That dude would have blown mad the clouds.
Somehow, I don't know how the website I found this knows this, but they talked about the red, white, and blue jelly beans that he had in his office. Apparently Jelly Belly sent him 2.5 tons of jelly beans.
What the he doesn't he didn't need that. He didn't fucking need you to send him 2.5 tons of jelly beans. He was the fucking president of the United States of America.
This next sentence though I think you'll love. Perversely, the president's favorite jelly bean was none of the three. It was black. Reagan liked licorice.
Reagan! You've done it again.
One, how is that really perverse? And two...
Oh, it's perverse.
Licorice? No.
It's perverse in my eyes. I mean,
wonder if licorice is like cilantro, where either like some people just don't have the taste bud for it and they don't like it because it hits them a different way than the rest of us.
I mean, I'm thinking specifically about black licorice. It has that flavor that is like not, the flavor of black licorice is black licorice. And there's no other sort of way to talk about it. I'll eat a Twizzler, and that's licorice, but whatever. He got 2.5 tons of jelly beans that I would have eaten, except the white ones, because I can't think of a white jelly bean also that I guess a pina colada one can kind of hang.
Yeah.
And he didn't eat those because he liked the bad jelly beans instead, so when they dumped it, fed to the dog or something. God.
Well, I'm sure he offered it to dignitaries.
Yeah, I bet that went over great.
The earliest known appearance of a jelly bean is a 1861 advertisement for William Shraft of Boston that promoted the sending of jelly beans to soldiers in the Union Army during the Civil War.
I mean, that's why we won the day. That's why we crushed it. Got that jelly bean strength.
Now, here's another thing that I'm skeptical of.
Okay.
Because jelly beans have been around for a long time. And so it says, archives of the 100-year-old product show some of the candies offered by the first generation of Golitz family candy makers. Candies were commonly made into the shapes of vegetables, such as chestnuts, carrots, and turnips, as well as seasonal shapes.
Interesting.
The diet of most Americans in the 1880s was dominated by beans and vegetables. Some clever candy maker figured out how to make a bean-shaped soft jelly.
For a few things there.
The suggestion here is that
Yes.
Americans were familiar with beans. They loved beans. They knew beans. They trusted beans.
Need beans, have beans. Gotta get beans.
The only way to get Americans to eat candy at that time was to also make them bean-shaped.
What is that? Well, it's a Mars bar. It's cool. It's got 4 little pockets of it. And I hate it. Now that looks like that looks like my trusted friend Beans. I trust Beans. I eat candy? No. I'm Beans for me. But that looks like my friendly Beans. Huh, interesting. I see what you've done there. That is wild.
Yeah, I found that a little hard to believe.
I am going to, as soon as we're done recording, smash through the window of this office to land in my automobile and drive to the nearest jelly bean vendor to us, because I have the deepest hankering for jelly beans right now, more powerful than anything. It's fucking wild. You're making me realize I have not eaten jelly beans in a very long time, and they are one of my favorite
Now's the time. They're everywhere.
They are everywhere. So your favorite is the
Juicy pear.
Juicy pear. That's your favorite Jelly Belly? Because there's we're being very Jelly Belly centric right now. There's lots of other ones.
Oh, that reminds me. I had one more thing I wanted to share.
Okay. I like the lemon lime Jelly Belly. That's my favorite one. Okay.
Okay. According to University of Oxford psychologist Charles Spence, there is a reason that people tend to pick red and pink candies as their favorites.
Interesting.
It said it's most likely due to the way food color affects our sense of taste. Red jelly beans may have an edge because we tend to experience red foods as sweeter than they actually are, as opposed to green foods, which we tend to experience as sourer.
Fine, but no, sir. I'm sorry, but you're wrong.
I do remember that as a kid, though. Like always, if I had to choose, like a blow pop, for example.
Yeah.
Red seemed like a good bet.
Well, it's because like cherry and strawberry candies, and I'm gonna go right down the fucking way down the rabbit hole right here.
Okay.
But I feel like when I look at a fruit candy and they have multiple offerings.
Yes.
Hypothetically, say it's a new fruit candy. I've never eaten it before.
Yes.
And they have a yellow one and a green one and a white one and a blue one and a red one. I want to eat the red one first, because in my mind, like cherry or strawberry candy is the fruit flavor of candy, and everything else is sort of branches off from that. Is this the wildest thing you've ever heard me like say out loud? The other reason is, like, if I see a bag of Jelly Bellies and it's an assortment of colors, I'm going to reach in and grab the red or pink one, because I know the odds of me getting something very foul is very low. The only thing I think of is cinnamon, which is okay, but it's obviously not what I wanted. But the odds are much higher than I'm going to get some sort of fruit punch or strawberry or cherry.
I go green.
Green won't do you wrong.
Green apple is good. Sometimes green is watermelon. Lime is always good too. I tend to go green first, because red tends to me to not taste like anything.
Interesting.
Red tends to taste like red.
God, I want to eat some fucking jelly beans right now. Jelly Belly sours are also very good. The soda flavored Jelly Bellies is fine. The Harry Potter every flavor beans. Get the fuck out of here with that. This isn't a fucking game to me.
I'm an adult now.
I need to eat jelly beans. I'm not playing around. I think they're actually very fun, and then like the Starburst jelly beans, can't go wrong. I will 100% destroy a bag of those. And that's some Easter shit right there. Gotta get some jelly beans. Do you want to know my second thing?
Yes.
It's a music thing.
Okay.
I think it's one that you are familiar with, though. It is Regina Spektor's major label debut album, Soviet Kitsch.
Oh my gosh.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes. So this was her third album, but it was her major label debut and sort of when she started her ascent. I hope you've heard of her at this point. She is a Russian-born pianist who I think immigrated to America when she was young, like 10 years old or so, and was sort of part of this anti-folk movement in New York that was, I don't know how to define it because I don't even think maybe even they did, but she came out of that and has these incredible albums. She's gone on to make way bigger albums, I think. I remember there was a few years though where you couldn't like see a movie or watch a TV show on primetime TV without hearing one of her songs. But
her sound is so unique.
It's very unique. This album though came out in 2004. It was kind of before her career popped off. And I listened to it. I started college in 2005. I listened to it constantly my entire college career. It is, in my opinion, like one of the most like gorgeous albums of the aughts. It is like start to finish, just a really beautiful thing. And the album is mostly just her singing over a piano with some like stringed accompaniment on a few tracks. And again, like she had follow-up albums like Begin to Hope came out in 2006. That one had Fidelity on it. That was like her hit single on everything. It's a very, very good song. But this was before that. And I hope I'm not sounding like, I liked her before she blew up. But like, I really think this album, Soviet Kitsch, is really unique because it was unlike anything I'd ever heard when I first heard it. So if you've never heard Regina Spektor, I want to play the opening track off of Soviet Kitsch. It's called Ode to Divorce. And I think it really sets up what made me kind of fall instantly in love with this album and with Regina's music. So this is Ode to Divorce.
Like you might make $1. I'm inside your mouth now, behind your tonsil, peeking over your molars. You're talking to her now. You've eaten something minty and you're making that face that I like, and you're going in.
So like one of the things that I really like about her is her vocal control is banana cakes.
Yeah.
In every song, just her volume, and I know that's like a weird thing to talk about when you're talking about somebody's voice, but her ability to go from this like gentle, almost whisper, like delicate voice to these huge operatic, like soaring notes is so good. And her lyrics are phenomenal. There's a part of this song, which is about going through a divorce. They're so great. So break me to small parts, let go in small doses, but spare some for spare parts. There might be some good ones. This idea of like bargaining your way back into a relationship that is not going to work is so like profound and so sad. And I realize after doing the Weaker Thans that I'm making it sound like I only liked very sad music in college. And I did. But this song is such like a weird way to open up an album, but it does so really wonderfully because it was also the first song of hers I'd ever heard. And it's just like, oh, here's what I'm all about. And it's really weird and very cool.
Her style is so recognizable. Like it's one of those things that you instantly know you're listening to a Regina Spektor song. I feel that way kind of about Joanna Newsom too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like such a unique voice and such a very precise way of putting lyrics together. Like you hear it and you're just like charmed instantly.
Yeah. So this album did have a big hit on it, but it didn't really become a big hit until I think around like 2006. They put it back out as a single after she had started to increase in notoriety. They made a music video for it. It's the first time you're like figuring your stuff out.
And not just college, just your early 20s.
Yeah, I think it's different for everyone, right? But I feel like this is a phase that everybody goes through where it's just like, I'm on my own now. What does that mean? I'm all about me. Who am I? Yeah. And that's important. And you have to do that. You absolutely have to do that. But it also kind of isolates you in a way and keeps you from sort of like thinking about how other people are going about that and thinking about themselves. And all this different stuff. So this refrain of people are just people like you, I found that so beautiful, and I still do, because it's really easy to get inside your own head and not be as thoughtful about what other folks are thinking about or going through, because you're just not like expressing much empathy. You're thinking about yourself. This song was always such a good reminder to like keep that fact that there are so many similarities between people on like a basic human level of what we all have needs and these human desires, like in mind, not to like ignore the differences between yourself and them, but to, think of them as people like you, like to try to put your own mind like in the way that it works and the things you think about and the things that stress you out and the things that make you happy and the things that make you sad, and just remembering that those people also have a set of those things. I know it's such a basic thing, but like, I don't know, it really, I feel like opened my eyes up in a way.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, it just makes everything more meaningful. Like that's one thing. My dad was a history major in college, and he always talked about how for him, history was always a really exciting subject because he was able to think of these great historical figures as people just like him. And it really connected him to these events and kind of what it must have been like to be in that position. And I think it continues to make him a more empathetic person today. And so I recognize like kind of the power in that of not feeling like this unique individual that, has never existed before, but somebody that's connected to like a much larger thing.
And you can do both, but you can't do one despite the other. Yeah. It's also just like a really nice song on a really nice album. I love this album so much. I've in prepping for this, I've been listening to it nonstop, and it's really taking me back and just reminding me like how genius and how special it is. And speaking of genius and special, our listeners have sent us some submissions.
Yay.
Shannon says, something I find wonderful is I just bought my first real big-ass couch. We previously had a futon. Life-changing. Comfort is no joke, y'all. Couch.
I love a good couch, man.
Man, it's maybe the most important purchasing decision you make. You gotta get real with it. And you gotta put your butt on a lot of couches before you jump into it. And special moment. Don't you think?
Yeah, sure.
Isabel says, I work at a library and often work with kids. Seeing their little faces happy while reading and learning makes my day. It's great to see kids enjoy literature, science, and more in this day and age. Anyway, hope you guys are doing great. And don't forget to share the magic of reading with your little baby. Oh, it's so good.
It's so good. There is nothing better. Henry's in this phase lately where he will pull books off of a surface and then hand them to us. And if we're lucky,
say like usually like, buh, because that's about as far as he's gotten.
And if we're lucky, he will actually sit and pay attention to us, and then he will ask us to read it again. And I actually don't tire of that. I enjoy that a lot.
It depends on the book. It depends on the book.
Griffin does
Brown bear,
great.
Brown bear, what do you see? I will do that shit 10 times in a row. I am spitting fire when I am reading Brown Bear. Some of those books though. Barnyard Dance. Listen,
I like Barnyard Dance.
What's her name? Sandra Boynton?
Yeah.
You do great
her
work. You do great work. Barnyard Dance is a rare sort of miss for me, but I know lots of people who appreciate it. Rory says, I recently started to get into hot sauce, and for me, it's a revelation. Not only does it taste great, but it's scientifically pretty rad that it triggers your body's pain response and floods your brain with endorphins. It's like a cheat code for happiness and food that can take a mediocre meal and make it great, or take a great meal and make it amazing.
Huh.
I used to put a hot sauce on everything when I was a little boy. I used to go to Florida, visit my nanny, and come back with like 30 bottles of hot sauce because that's like their main export down there. Fucks me up. Now I mostly do Cholula, which I think is on the milder side of the spectrum.
And Sriracha.
I do a little bit of Sriracha. Boy, I love hot sauce though. Hey, next week. Let's get into it.
Yes.
The Max Fun Drive is going to be kicking off. It's going to run for 2 weeks, April 2nd. Through April 13th. How much is 2 weeks? It's going to start on April 2nd and it runs for 2 weeks, and it's going to be super, super fun. If you're not familiar, if you're new to the show, the Maximum Fun Network is It is supported by people like you, and we ask for your support during the Max Fund Drive. You can become a member of the network and help donate and help us grow and do more stuff. And then if you do that, we, during the Max Fund Drive, have special gifts that we can give out to you. Why am I talking like an infant? We have special gifts. We have special gifts that we give out to you at just like $5 a month, for instance. You get access to all of our bonus episodes.
Oh, that bonus stuff is so good.
And all the bonus content that every show on the network has ever made. It is like a
including
huge
like
treasure
videos
trove.
And live shows.
Yeah, a bunch of really, really cool stuff. And then we have other sort of gifts that we can give out too. And we're going to talk about those actually during the Max Fund Drive, which again starts next week. But yeah, we really appreciate your support. We appreciate all the support that we've gotten from the network since we started doing this, and since we transitioned. We're doing Rose Buddies up until last fall, and then it was kind of a scary thing to come off this sort of stable and fairly successful show because it wasn't making us as happy to do it anymore, and try to do a show that would make us happy, even if it didn't make the best sort of business, financial, broadcast, entertainment sense.
Yeah, and we have a really great community of listeners, and this is kind of the one time of year that we ask, if you have a little extra money and would like to contribute to what we're doing, we would appreciate it.
We'd appreciate it. So that'll be next week, and thank you to Boann and Augustus for the use for our theme song, Money Won't Pay. You can find a link to it in the episode description. And all's on it.
If you want to check out more McElroy products, you can go to McElroyShows.com.
Mm-hmm. Is that it?
That's it.
Smash!
He's on that jelly bean hunt.
I'd like to buy 10 bags of jelly beans, please.
I don't know when my voice gets higher when I'm far away.
That'll be $30. That seems a pretty good price for 10 bags of jelly beans. All right, bye.
Unsmash! Bean delivery!
Money won't pay. What can all pay? 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 Money won't pay.
MaximumFun.org.
Comedy and culture.
Artist owned.
Listener supported.
In celeb news this week, the hosts of Lady to Lady took a break from hanging with today's hottest comedians, actors, and writers to sell a sex machine. What'd they do with all that cash?
Rent a party bus to go to Magic Mike Live in Vegas, of course. All of this on the heels of a salacious Sizzler session with Home Alone 4-star French Stewart.
Want to know what the we're talking about? Tune into Lady to Lady whenever, wherever you listen to podcasts. Can you keep a secret? Neither can we.